Good morning, business owners. Mike Bosma, your host of Bosma on Business. A happy Saturday morning, or whenever you're downloading this podcast. Of course, each and every week we give you a solid hour of what we call action-packed business adventure. The whole genre of the show is helping business owners figure this life out. It could be how to make a buck, how to save a buck, how to save a family, how to lose a family, kind of whatever you need, whatever you want in business. Those are all fair game on Bosma on Business. Of course, when I think of all the reasons that we do this show, I really am trying to drive business owners to a higher level of success in their world. And I think those are things as we're now doing a newsletter daily. Hit and subscribe both to the podcast and then sign up for the newsletter on keystone.cpa. Really giving business owners salient content that they need to action that week, right? No sales, no fluff, just good content that you probably won't get anywhere else. Speaking of not getting stuff anywhere else, on today's installment of Bosma on Business, Jade Bogan, serial entrepreneur, multi-talented, multifaceted, probably one of the most fascinating business owners I've ever met, and excited to have her on the show. So without further ado, Jade, welcome back to Bosma on Business.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be back.
All right. So your main gig, the main jam, InMotion Mechanical. Let's start there. We'll just peel the onion back.
Yeah. Let's. Family-owned business. I opened it about 11 years ago with my husband, Chad. We're a heating company based out of Truckee, expanding into Nevada now with our oldest son, which is pretty cool. Okay. Yeah, it's been a great little business for us, and it pays the bills, as you would say.
The golden goose.
Yes.
Do not kill the golden goose.
Correct, at all cost.
How many employees?
We've got about 15 now.
Okay.
So for a service company, we don't do new construction. We're 100% service. We specialize in hydronic heating, radiant. We have an HVAC team. So for service only, we're strong and mighty. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
How did you get that big of a footprint in Truckee, right?
In Truckee is really where it all started. Started really small. As a young child, my grandfather was an entrepreneur and he raised me part of my life.
It's all his fault.
It's all his fault, all the risks, everything. I remember thinking, I just want to get married someday and own a business. And I had no idea what it'd be, but I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Did you tell Chad this? I just want to get married and own a business.
No, 100% no.
Of course.
No, he thought I was this really cool laid-back snowboarder chick when we met almost 30 years ago. About 30 years ago now. Yeah, and then Chad got into the industry. He delivered a mattress to a guy that owned a heating company. Super cool. And I thought, wow, this guy's made it big. I should look into it. And no kidding, that's how he got his start. He went to TMCC, studied the trade, and I, as an entrepreneur at heart, he leveled out about 10 years into the trade and kind of maxed out and being the best in his field, wouldn't make raises. And they said, hey, if you want to make more money, you have to open your own company. And I thought, that's what we're going to do.
That's a great idea.
That's a great
Thank you
idea.
for sharing that with me. I agree.
Yep.
So you opened InMotion about 11 years ago.
Knocked on doors, whole 9 yards. I would say our niche of how we really grew was through property managers. So we have a really special relationship. Truckee and Lake Tahoe are their own market. A lot of second home ownership and things of that nature. So we really cater to that industry and to second homeowners and high-end homes and that kind of stuff. We really take pride in that.
But that's important. Like we call that the marketing secret sauce. If you can find some way to penetrate a market that is effective, obviously you have to deliver on the service promise, right? Fix people's HVAC, charge them fairly, all of those things. But if you can do that, and what property owners want are people they can rely on. They're going to show up, because otherwise they don't just fire the HVAC company. The landlords fire the property manager for bringing this mess into their life.
Absolutely.
So if you can not create a mess, if you can be awesome, then you're like, okay, we can scale this thing.
Yeah, we used to say when we started, we'll answer the phone. And we meant it. 24/7, whatever that meant, we'll answer the phone, we'll show up, we'll take care of it. And we've really stood by that. And I think it's made a difference. Simple, but effective.
So, everything to be successful in business, you should have learned in kindergarten, right?
Yeah.
Respond when people talk to you.
Yeah.
Be polite.
Yeah.
Right.
Do what you say you're going to do. It's pretty simple.
Right.
Yeah.
Just do, if you say you're going to do something, just do that.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
How about that? How about that?
I love it. Yeah.
Now, 15 is an interesting inflection point because that's where a lot of business owners, they hit a plateau. If a student of Rockefeller Habits, Bernard Harnish, he would say, you can only manage so much, and when you get to that level, it's a nice little plateau. You're profitable. It seems like your life's in control, and then But to get to that next level, it takes a significant amount of investment. And so then, and just people have to decide, is the juice worth the squeeze?
Yeah, it's this, do I stop while I'm ahead and tap out, or do I go all in again and grow and get to that next level?
Right.
And I think that's different for every entrepreneur, right? Some entrepreneurs are solo entrepreneurs. Their family's not really involved. It's them, it's their journey. And for us, it's a family business. So the dynamics are even more layered because I've got a husband and I've got a son plus employees, and they have dreams and desires or limits. We say our life is lived between losses and limits, and everybody has different ones. And so it gets interesting when we were actually talking about this the other day out at the lake. We were enjoying a Saturday together, which was nice. And we talked about how there's the entrepreneur, there's the manager, and there's the worker. And when you put the three of us in the room, we each tick a box. My son is managerial and he's a rule follower and he's very good at putting everything where it should be and everyone following that and structured. And my husband is this incredible worker in the books and the things and the stuff. Or I just want to go. I want to go put them. I want to go fix it. I just want to be out there. And then I'm the big dreamer and the risk taker, and my risk level and my ability to jump off buildings is much higher than theirs. And so now when we get to that 15-year, which we're looking at actually coming on now, is do we expand? Do we grow into Nevada, multi-state? We're positioned to do well. Do we stay small? Do we tap out? Do we go big?
But I would say this, Jade, you don't have to necessarily go big or go home. You can go big and be okay. And that's by hedging risk. And I'll explain what I mean by that. So I met with a gentleman yesterday, a client. He's at the same spot, right? He's this automobile repair shop, niche market. He owns it, but he's about as big as he can be. Space-wise in his shop, if he's going to expand, he's going to have to get a location somewhere else, open up a second shop. It's difficult, right? As we talked about his scaling that business, how difficult is it to grow from one shop to two shops? Because then when you open up the shop, you have a ton of overhead.
Yeah.
And in that case, when he was opening up his original shop, I said, why don't you just buy a business? And that comes with a shop and all the equipment and employees, even though it wasn't in his niche vertical. And that worked out. He actually made more money by paying less rent than the business cost.
Oh, I love it.
Right? So,
yeah.
And then we're talking about him buying another shop, another niche automobile repair. But he's okay. But then we talked about all about those scaling things. You're going to need accounting. Okay, you're going to need baked, because now you're going to have money going between two different businesses.
And multi-state.
And that means their payroll complexities, all of it. It's like you have to have that part of it. And if you try and wing it, right, where the business owner's doing everything, you make a mistake in any one of those, it's going to be painful.
Yeah.
And because your profits are down, because you're scaling, that's when you can really end up getting into some significant trouble. It's just identifying what those areas that need infrastructure support, get that done before the transaction, or the expansion. And then you're like, okay, we can do this. We don't need to try and, I call it building a Formula One race car during the race. That's not the time to do
Right,
it.
yeah. I love that. Yeah, it's great.
What about buying another HVAC company?
We are looking, actually. I think it's a great idea. Okay, I haven't. Let's be honest. We are looking, we're testing the waters and looking at, is that the right way to grow? And it seems pretty great. The people are the biggest piece of what you want. And
You're
so it's finding,
people. It's kind of like slavery. You're
I
buying
guess.
people.
You are, though. I don't look at the asset of the business I'm buying in this industry as their contracts and sales, because our industry is saturated in work and we can't meet the need of employees. So I'm looking at what employees come to the table, what techs do I get, how experienced, how many trucks are going to go on the road when I write that check.
Right.
That's the kicker in this industry. Whereas I know that people look at gross sales and all this stuff is like everything. I'm thinking my demand, I can't keep up. I'm months booked out. My customers are upset. I want your guys.
What
do you got? Or girls. Sorry.
But what's interesting is, how do you value that business? I think that's where people get wrapped around the axle, because they're like, what's quality of earnings? How repeatable are the sales? How do I know I'm going to have these employees? And the reality is, before you get into a contract, I would say there's no way to know, because all those are things that you do in due diligence, which means you got to have an offer on the table that's accepted, and then we're like, okay, let's see if this thing can actually do what we hope it can. And that's where I think a lot of people, they overthink the pre-letter of intent. And you're just like, hey, I'll pay you fairly.
Yeah.
Right? No problem. Right now, just
Yeah.
the metrics are like this. Business making $1 million a year. Net earnings to the owner. That business is going to sell in HVAC somewhere between 3 and 4 million, depending on if they have subscription, recurring revenue or not. That's how the multiple is going to bake themselves out.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, 3 to 4 million. Let's call it 3 million. For
Okay.
$3 million, you're making $1 million a year.
Yeah.
You get an SBA loan. You're going to put $300,000 down. The seller's going to carry a $300,000 loan, and then you're going to get a $2.4 million loan with the SBA.
Yeah.
Easy, skeezy, lemon squeezy. If
Totally.
you do the math, right, you're going to pay. I think I did the math on this just the other day. Was for the $2.4 million loan, the payments are like $25,000 a month. So you're like, okay, for let's call it $300,000 a year in cash that I'm paying in my payments.
Yeah.
Ish.
But I'm making $1 million.
So I'm
So
making
I'm clearing,
$1 million.
still
I'm
clearing
paying
700.
I'm still 700 to the good.
I'm tracking your math.
I'm still 700 to the good. So
Yeah.
even after my down payment, I'm ahead.
Yeah.
Cash flow. Like
Yes.
The only variable is, can your infrastructure of your business support it? And then if you, let's say in your business, let's say you're that same business, I'm making $1 billion a year. But now if you're making $2 million a year, instead of being worth 6, you're worth 8 because the multiple goes up.
Oh, I love it.
So you just found wealth by putting these businesses together. So
Yes.
when we come back, Jade Bogan, owner, serial entrepreneur, chief cook at Bogan. No, she's the visionary of InMotion Mechanical. When we come back, we're really going to press into the family infrastructure of doing business with people that you sleep with. It's Bosma on
Great.
business. When we come back.
In life, things aren't scripted.
And if you're an athlete, we need people like you and translate those skills to officiating.
You can get a lot out of it. It happens in every town, in every game.
We never have a perfect game, but the rewards always outweigh the negativities.
Welcome back to Bosma on Business. Your host, Mike Bosma, talking about doing business with the family. So in studio, Jade Bogan, owner of InMotion Mechanical, talking about having her husband and her son as part of her 15-person team in this business, and some of the more nuanced parts of having your kiddo work with you and sleeping with the boss. So Jade, I'm kidding. I'm not. We don't even talk about that.
Yes.
But it makes it dicey, right? Because
Yeah.
as you described it, everybody has you're the visionary entrepreneur, right? Tyler's the manager guy. Chad is the worker bee. If it were me and my son is barking out orders about more production, now Chad's a better human than I am, but I would bristle.
Yeah, it has not been without those moments. The fractures in the relationship, the testing of the depth of love and the bandwidth comes. So it's really hard. And our son he's just bright and incredibly gifted. And so he comes to the table with a lot, and you want to respect that, right? And then you've got mom and dad that are like, I'm the mom and dad, and we built this thing, and we had nothing, and we still had 5 kids at home, and we were using gift cards we got from Christmas to buy gas to get to the job. Like, the sacrifice is legit. And so you get in this place where you're like, hold on here, you're like, are you getting entitled? And you get a little puffy, like, simmer down. We built this out of nothing. And so those challenges have happened. And at the end of the day, you have to sit back and really, we had to put parameters up. So family dinner, we don't talk about, there's no business. There had to be walls to contain business conversations so that the family could love the family well and show up well and enjoy one another and get to be part of our grandkids' life. And my daughter-in-law's gorgeous. And same with my spouse. I can't sit home at night every night and talk about the day or
let's
the stuff.
grow the empire, Chad.
Oh my gosh.
Can I just drink my bourbon?
Please let me have a
Give
whiskey
me a minute.
and calm down. Yeah. It's hard. So we learned that the hard way, and we learned it with almost risking those relationships. They've been close to breaking, I'm not going to lie. And I actually have one of my other sons, a younger son, with us as an apprentice now. Also, so we've added that dynamic. So there's more. He's on dad with a huge project this week, and now we have a new dynamic of the young kid coming up, and oh my
And then all of a
goodness.
sudden, son calls in sick. And,
Oh, it's happened.
and you're like, I know what you did this week.
Yes.
Knucklehead.
Yes.
Right? You give the team member a little slack, but me, I'd poke the bear a little bit.
And then you have the dynamic of your employees watching.
Right.
And so they're like, that's not fair. This has to be even. You can't treat your children different than us. We've been with you for
Forever.
the entire journey. And as a mom, it's challenging because you want a mom, but you also have to be a business owner. And it's been really hard. I'm not going to lie.
The nuggets, if I heard you right, Jade, boundaries at the dinner table. We're just going to talk about life and grandkids and relationships. We're not talking about work. And I think that's a great takeaway.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the same is true, and we call it chitty chat, right? Decompressing. Hey, we don't need to talk about growing the empire right now. Let's just talk. Let's dream about us. Right? And all the places we're going to buy an HVAC company so that we can travel and write it off. No, we're not
doing that. No. You already failed the whole marriage business relationship. It's out.
Fortunately, I'm married. Yeah, we were sitting at the fire pit with Jill, and I just had this random thought that came across my head. I think it'd be better to live in Los Angeles because we can get to anywhere from LAX. Right? Now, I just kind of said this in passing, right? And it sent Jill down this whole thing about, I don't want to live in Los Angeles.
Spiraling. She's reimagining your entire life and kids' lives in the flash of an eye because you're an entrepreneur. It would be cool. And she's just,
right. She's like,
I get the girl.
The kids in school. I gotta find. And she's stressed, and I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, you just dropped this 10,000-pound bomb in my life, and now we're gonna have to move. I'm like, what are you talking about? You said we're moving to LA. I'm like, we're not moving anywhere. This is home base.
Aren't we good at that? Entrepreneurs are awesome. We'll just say it, and we're like, you know what would be awesome? And our families are just thinking, oh my God,
Here we go.
Stop, you're imploding us again. Stop.
Oh, bless our hearts.
Yeah.
Bless our
Yeah, it's a
but
lot.
that's it. But I think that's the part of being able to dream, right? And to have that discussion or the relationship, like, okay, are we talking about anything actionable, or are we just dreaming? Right?
Are we just getting it out? We
just working through it.
pops in. We just gotta.
Right. Of course, what's funny about the LA thing is we were down in LA for a concert, a George Strait concert.
Oh, nice.
And I said, so we stayed in Marina Del Rey. Let's just kind of see this. And then flew in and out of LAX. I thought, I couldn't live here. Couldn't do it. Can't do it.
Rat race.
So if there was any glimmer, I was like, no thanks.
Good.
Although we did drive through Pacific Palisades because there's a lot of real estate for sale there, right?
Yeah, great prices, isn't it?
It's not.
It's not?
It's not.
After all that happened.
After all that, and
Wow.
but again, my entrepreneurial brain engages.
Opportunity.
Let's go buy up a bunch of lots, build it.
I would have been in the back seat, like, yeah, let's go. Look at that one. Yeah. And our spouses are on the other side, like, oh my God, stop. Please stop. Just stop. We're good.
We're good. Can we just go to dinner now? Right?
Yeah.
We were on the way to dinner, and they had security everywhere. But it was sad, and my heart goes out for all the people that suffered loss through that. It was
absolutely.
just terribly sad.
Yeah.
But then again, out of the ashes, the phoenix, you're like, wow, there's something better can come out of this, out of the ashes.
That's what entrepreneurs see. We constantly see it. And I think that's the resilience that is a gift on the other side of it, because I don't know about you, but I've gone through loss. I've lost a business. I've had personal loss. And this thing in me that is so inherent is, no, something's good. I'm going to come back. I'm coming back from this. And it might take a minute.
It's going to take a minute.
It's going to be a bit of a yard sale, but
Right.
there is something in us that sees that something more can still come.
Yeah, I think that's that resilience, you call it, Jade, right, is the superpower of an entrepreneur. Where now, I remember one time back when I was manager of a grocery store going to college before I started my accounting career. I was walking the floor, I was the graveyard manager running night crew. And I remember my grocery manager was walking the floor with me talking about, seems to be missing product here, Mike. Missing product there, and this is wrong, and this is wrong. And I was explaining it all the way. That's because, and I remember he said this to me, and it's always stuck with me. He says, Mike, you have amazing confidence. Now, if we can just get your confidence to rival your confidence, the world is your oyster. And I thought, oh, look, he really believes in me. And I went home, and I'm like, he said I'm completely clueless. And he was
I'm
right.
incompetent.
I'm incompetent, but I get back.
I talk a big game, but I can't do it.
I can't deliver.
Yeah,
So,
that feels good.
but also,
Motivational.
But as an entrepreneur, we have to take that. Like, okay,
Yeah.
is that what you got? let's walk it tomorrow, Dave.
Uh-huh.
Here we go. Got it dialed in. All right. Speaking of got it dialed in, when we come back, Jade Bogan from InMotion Mechanical is going to share her journey about loss, right? We all talk about the wins in business, but what about when you lose? And how do you manage it? How do you move out of it? And then how do you succeed at the other side of a business loss? It's Bosma on Business when we come back.
What if you had some money waiting for you at the IRS? Money you could use to fix up the house, tune up the car, get a little something for the family, or save for a rainy day. If you worked and didn't make much money last year, find out about the Earned Income Tax Credit at irs.gov. It makes life a little easier.
Welcome back to Bosma on Business. Your host, Mike Bosma. Bottom of the hour, I always talk about a little bit of a tax nugget. IRS recently released some regulations on the research and development tax credit that made getting some of those refunds back from 22 and 23 a little bit easier, depending on if you filed your tax returns or not. Most people that are watching this show or listening to this show are going to be a day away or 2 days away from the filing date of September 15th for their business return. And there's some things to do on that return. So give me a call if you need to understand what that is, 775-786-4900. Or the best way to get that content is to go to keystone.cpa and subscribe to the newsletter, because we just push it out. That type of timely, salient, relevant stuff we push out in that newsletter today. Does it apply to you, Mr. and Mrs. Business Owner? And then if so, what do you need to do to action it so you don't need to do a bunch of research? We do that work for you. Speaking of doing the work for you, Jade Bogan from InMotion Mechanical. Actually, it was really bittersweet. Last week, I had a meeting with a CPA. One of the things we're doing is to scale our CPA firm, is talking to other CPAs about bring your practice and bolt it on. Because a lot of times people are trying to riddle the CPA game. How do you hire people, get them trained, but then we have the business brokerage and the wealth advisory connected. So we're like, hey, let's go. We talked about, negotiated our deal. Well, let's go have a bourbon. That's what part of town you live in. He's south of town. Let's go to let's go to the village and drink a subpar bourbon.
I love the Village Well owners, but they didn't have the 200 that we had.
Right.
So
It was a little bittersweet. So you started. What was the genesis of starting Grafted? What was it? What was the big idea?
I had this itch forever. When I was younger, I worked in restaurants and hospitality, and I'm just a people person at heart. So hospitality is at my core. And I fell in love with, TDC Partol's vision over there at Ranchera. And I thought, gosh, this could be the perfect place for my bougie little dream. I have a thing for chandeliers, if you don't know this about me.
I have noticed that.
I thought that it would do well there. And so I really wanted to create, my passion was to create a place where people could be seen and heard and loved, and walk in and feel like it was a beautiful place to celebrate things, to do life together, and to be really just have a great experience. Like, I wanted to cultivate that and make it a really special place. And so that was my heart in it. Also, obviously hoped it would be a financially viable business, but really it was a passion project. Even my husband said, as long as this thing makes even and gets me a zero, my wife's happy and he's changing the world, right? And he was just really sweet about honoring this itch in me to bring something to life here in Reno and love people, which was really the heart of it. So created a restaurant and in the Village at Ranchera that I love deeply, and a team of people that, gosh, in that industry, they were with me from before I opened until after I closed. Like, the love and dedication, and it was actually a really, really beautiful season. Hard. Some mistakes, some pain, but beautiful.
So for the benefit of our business owners that are listening, some of those lessons you learned from that season. Yeah,
you got to balance the passion and the desire of what you want to do with some real hard facts. I think where I made a couple of mistakes. One, I think I was just all in, and I didn't 100% have my husband's buy-in. So when it hit the fan and stuff wasn't going good, you can end up in a marriage on the opposite side of the problem. And instead of on the same side of it going, gosh, this sucks, how are we going to fight through this and overcome it? We got each other's back. And not to say we aren't good now, but in the darkest moments, it often felt that we had been divided because he didn't have that passion. He was just trying to be in it for me. And here I went and lost us every penny we had. The truth is we're starting over, and I'm honest about that in telling our story, because the cost of my decision to bring what I did to life cost us everything. And we're restarting now, 10 years into, I love InMotion, but it's heartbreaking that I did that to our family. And so I have to own that, right? I have to own that in the marriage. Whoops. Still love me?
Well, of course. But,
So
but I think what
it's
you
hard.
said, Jade, and it resonates, right, is as entrepreneurs, oftentimes, right, we're chasing Don Quixote, chasing after windmills. And that's part of us, but we also are sensitive to, there's a collateral damage that comes with that. And so trying to get buy-in if you don't have it. I remember when I bought the Bosma Business Center, my then wife said it was the stupidest thing on the planet. And then when I was going through that similar crisis, I was like, can you just sit at the front desk so I don't have to pay somebody $20 an hour, just sit at the front desk? She said, it was your idea. Too bad, so sad. And I just remember thinking, I'm alone on this. I just never envisioned wanting to ever do it alone. And I just think, okay, learn the lesson.
Yeah.
It's okay to lose, just don't lose the lesson.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that as entrepreneurs, I've heard a lot of people when I sit with them, like we're both an entrepreneurs organization and stuff, and they'll lose a business and they resignate it to failure so much as in they've failed. It failed. Everything failed. Everything was a mistake. It was a mistake. And I'm really not on that bandwagon. I think there were some mistakes along the way, and there was a ton of beauty, and there was a ton of success, and there was some failure. And obviously, financially, viability didn't happen. And so eventually, we made the decision to close the doors, which was emotionally heartbreaking. But I don't look back and say, gosh, I really screwed up. I look back and like, okay.
But
what's
in
the season?
in the moment, you grieve the loss, right? And that's, you have to give yourself space to grieve the loss, right? These people that believed in the vision, right now they're going to have to go get resources
I broke their
somewhere else.
hearts.
It's just-
Yeah.
So it's hard. And I think when I try and coach people through these seasons, really letting them know, give yourself room to grieve, okay? Go through all 5 stages of grief,
Yeah.
okay? That's true. But then also, you paid for this PhD from the School of Hard Knocks, okay? Don't lose that lesson. Like, what were both people of faith? What did God have for you in this season?
Yeah.
So that on the other side of it, you're like, okay, I wouldn't have this if I didn't go through that. So any takeaways yet, or is it still too close?
I know it's so close. I'm just finally 6 months out of, which feels a little, I can breathe now and talk about it without getting too emotional and
Right.
go by there. But yeah, for me, it's twofold. One, it's that being a Christian, I don't ever want to be out of alignment with my husband again.
Right.
Those just, so when I look at emotion or new opportunities, are we both aligned? Do we both believe in the vision? Number one. Number two, I really want to make stronger financial decisions on the front end. So really seeking that person, that advisor to help in those conversations prior and throughout, rather than trying to just grit through and do it on my own and keep grinding the grind. I think I could have humbly gone to more advisors and said, gosh, how do I flip this? Or when do I pull the plug and pull the plug sooner when it wasn't doing well? But I was so emotionally connected to the
You
people.
wanted to get it right. Right. You want to get the deal done, right? And so
You do.
And that's where, I guess the takeaways I would say, Jade, for me on what you just said was just going back to some of my own journey, thinking of many others, which is really just like gambling. You
Yeah.
walk into the casino, what do they tell you? Have a limit.
Yeah.
How much I'm willing to lose on this endeavor before I pull the plug.
Yeah.
And then if you do that, right, and if you talk about what those numbers are, I'd be willing to lose $100,000. I'd be willing to lose $500,000.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to lose $1 million. But then whatever that is, right, now you're in alignment. And then you're like, okay, this is how this thing is trending. And then because you have the rip off the Band-Aid moment coming. And I think a lot of people, they just get that business model called hope, right?
Yes. We can turn this around. It's happening. Yeah.
And because we're eternally optimistic.
Yeah.
And so you're like, okay, this is the bottom line. I remember I started an insurance company years ago with 2 friends. And terrible idea. But I was just like, I was like, okay, I'm in. I had a guy, he's going to sell insurance. It's going to be easy skeezy, lemon squeezy. And I said, this is how much my max is. Like when that's out, I'm out. And it was so funny because I had one of the other investors in it told me that you're such a Boy Scout. That's a bad thing. That's a good thing. But he says, you're such a Boy Scout. You're not an entrepreneur. You're freaking accountant. Shaming me. And I'm just like, no, I think that's what I'm willing to play.
What's your Enneagram? Do you do Enneagram stuff?
Oh, I did, but I'm not sure. I don't remember now. What's yours?
I'm a 7, so I can flip any script and be like, it's good, we're good, everything's gonna be good, it's a good time. Like, and it's so I need the other side of the Enneagram.
The
Be there.
technical side,
Yes, I
Like,
need this to
slow
be
your
going,
roll,
stop.
Jade. Right, okay.
It's actually not all hope and good, Jade. You're not gonna flip that. I know you're a 7, but stop.
And that's where, but both sides of that respect the other,
Yeah.
the value of the growth.
So important.
So I remember when Jill and I, my beautiful bride,
Yes.
when we met online in Christian Mingle, and we're going through the text
Love that.
chat because you're not even talking yet, just
Yeah.
because you don't know who stalkers are out there in
Yeah,
Christian Mingle.
sure.
But it was so funny.
Catfishes. I think that's what they call them. A
Yeah,
catfish.
catfishing. Yeah. So I said, let's say, Jill, this thing goes famously, and we get married, and then life is great. And I come home a Friday night and say, I have an idea. Let's go to Disneyland. What would you say? And she said this. She says, let me grab my sunglasses and my purse. We get married. We actually do that. We go to Disneyland on Friday before New Year's, watch fireworks at Disneyland on New Year's. Great experience. And years later, she says, you remember when I told you about the purse and sunglasses thing? I lied.
Ooh. Switch. Catfish. I'm just kidding.
But it was, and I said, why?
Yeah.
At first, I didn't believe her.
Yeah.
But then she said, because I knew if I always stayed in the life that I always had, where I needed 14 months of planning before I ever made a decision, I didn't want to live that life anymore. So I knew if I was going to do anything fun, I was going to have to change how I looked at my life. Otherwise, I would just marry somebody that is just like me, and we're just going to sit and look at each other and talk about what we're going to do instead of go do it.
I love that.
And I thought, wow.
This is great.
How insightful on her side.
Yeah.
And then also to be able to kind of say, just slow it down, just give me a day or two
Yeah.
of warning.
Give me a minute.
Just give me a minute. So
I thought you were moving to LA tomorrow. Was he talking about? Oh, that's amazing. Good
bless
for
our
her.
hearts.
Yeah.
But I think that's it, right? It's like more, although we're talking about business, you're talking about all these boundaries and then understanding who you are, how you're
Yeah.
wired, all of these things. So in studio, Jade Bogan, InMotion Mechanical. When we come back, she's going to tell us the number one thing she learned while suffering loss when we come back. It's Bosma Business.
I was born with a congenital heart defect and almost died. But thanks to research funded by the American Heart Association, I had heart surgery that saved my life. Learn more at helpheart.org.
Welcome back to Bosma Business. Your host, Mike Bosma, talking with Jade Bogan from InMotion Mechanical and formerly of Grafted Whiskey and Wine Bar. Jade, close friend, again, one of the most stunning entrepreneurs I've ever known. And I appreciate her vulnerability to talk about having the dream and not see it come to realization and ending up being able to gently close those doors and then go on to her next chapter. I think for all of us as business owners, understanding what that means for us, processing it, hopefully through the eyes or lens of somebody else rather than your own loss, but dealing with it. Jade, when we talk about loss, what was like the big aha, the big takeaway of coping or dealing or managing? How did you get through it?
Yeah. It's been hard. It's been dark. And we also lost a child in the process of it. So our business was struggling. And then I lost a 19-year-old son last year. And so the combined grief felt often all-consuming and hard to breathe.
Right.
And I didn't at times know if I would sustain it and actually come on the other side. Sitting here today is a big deal for me because there were so many layers of grief and loss all at once. But when we had the final party at Grafted, the goodbye, on my goodbye party, I remember just saying to everybody in that room that my life and what I look at success or I've done well or I've shown up well is the room that's filled when I'm down. And I was down, like I'd lost a child, I was having health problems, I was closing a business, and the room was filled, not just with customers, but with customers, friends, family, employees that were crying. Like the love and the level of mutual respect and loyalty and shared grief was incredible. Right. And I think that you get that. I have this tagline that has started in my family and through my businesses that we show up and love. And so whatever life looks like, we're going to show up and we're going to love well. And I can say that I feel I did that with my employees, with my community. I continue to do that with my family and friends and the business we're still blessed to have that God's let us keep. But it wasn't without great tears and days I wanted to stay in bed or even feel shame or all the things that come with people's questions and judgments. But at the end of the day, I'm pretty proud of that damn room. All the love that's been built through the hard.
Right.
Through the hard.
And that's where I think those, I wouldn't even call them lessons, right? Those triumphs where you're just like got through that moment, right? And I remember when I was going through my season with the firm that I sold to and ended up extracting myself from, right? And it was in a very dark place and couldn't even liken it to what you went through, Jade. And I know how hard that was for me, but I tell myself every day how blessed I am on this side of it. That I wouldn't understand. We just made the Inc. 5000 fastest growing business. And I remember years before we had made that a couple years running and then we ended up in down revenue. And I just remember that was my undoing. Like you said, this huge failure moment. And then to be able to say, wow, we have engaged amazing team members spread across the United States. We have clients that need what we do and value what we do and are just appreciative that we're in this season, we're helping them. And able to scale that across the United States. I wouldn't have been able to get here if I didn't go through that. So if you're out there and you're thinking it would be helpful to get a second opinion on maybe somebody telling you, bazillions in tax, maybe thinking of how do I sell this business? How do I buy a business? How do I manage enough to have enough so I don't have to work and be as engaged as I currently am with my current business? That's what we help people do. Make those transitions. Give us a call, 775-786-4900, and Bosma at keystone.cpa. More importantly, just go to keystone.cpa and sign up for the newsletter. Until next week, you business owners, keep the business machine running.